democratizing data, CommBank's transformational journey with the AWS data marketplace. This is a level 200 session. So if you are interested in discovering how CommBank is unlocking the power of data and making it accessible through AWS marketplace, you are in the right place. It's my absolute pleasure to introduce our distinguished speaker for today. Please join me in warm welcoming to the stage Terri Sutherland and Olatunde Baruwa from CBA and Praveen Kumar from AWS. Let's give them a big round of applause and welcome to this stage.
Hi everyone. I hope you all are having a great morning so far, and thank you for joining our session today. In this session, we are going to talk about CommBank's transformational data journey with AWS Data Marketplace. My name is Praveen Kumar. I'm a Principal Analytics Solutions Architect at AWS, and I'm honored to be sharing the stage with my co-speakers from Commonwealth Bank of Australia. So that's Terri Sutherland, General Manager Data Platform, and Olatunde Baruwa, Chief Engineer Data Platform. In our session today, we are going to start by covering some of the key industry trends and challenges. Then we'll talk about how can you set up data marketplace on AWS. And then Terri and Olatunde will take you through CommBank's data strategy, design principles, the tech stack, some of the learnings, and finally we'll do a wrap up with key takeaways. So we have got a lot to cover. Let's get started. Every year, in collaboration with CDO, IQ, and MIT, we run a survey. In this survey, we ask CDOs across the globe about their perspective on the state of data and AI. And last year, when we ran this research, this shouldn't surprise anyone that generative AI was on almost everyone's mind. However, organizations and chief data officers are realizing that in order to get the maximum business value from your analytics and AI initiatives, you need to have strong data foundation first. And the numbers here tell you the same story. 93% of survey respondents called out that data strategy is crucial. However, only 37% have right data foundation in place. And data quality emerged as one of the biggest blocker. So when we go and speak to organizations about setting up right data foundation, we come across a number of challenges. And the challenges vary based on the persona you speak to. However, there is a common overarching theme, and that's collaboration with data is hard. For example, if you speak to LOB owners, their concern is around having trust and confidence in the data assets across the organization. If you speak to data owners and data stewards, they find it difficult to share data with broad set of users with right policies and controls. And then you have your data consumers. This could be your data analysts, data scientists, data engineers. For them, accessing data and discovering data is very hard. And it's even harder to connect their tools and compute to these data sets and then collaborate with their team members. And I remember a conversation with Terri when we started CBA's data transformation journey. And she called out that CBA has exceptional data scientists. However, making data available to them in a timely manner with right controls and processes is incredibly challenging. It can take weeks, if not months sometimes. So to cater for many of these challenges, we are seeing organizations are setting up data marketplace on AWS. So how does that work? Data marketplace on AWS brings together a set of data producers and data consumers who are aligned to their respective line of business or divisions and enables them to collaborate on common data assets across the organization and help accelerate development of AI and data-driven applications. So how do you build one? On AWS, we offer services such as Amazon Data Zone that enables you to discover, catalog, consume, and govern data assets at scale across organizational boundaries without having to manage any underlying infrastructure. Some of the other benefits include a unified business data catalog that you can use to enable lineage, data quality, You are able to do fine-grained access control. You are able to connect the tools and engines of your choice to the data sets with unified governance. Now, you might be wondering, how are organizations doing this today? How are they doing it at scale? What does their transformation journey looks like? What has been their learnings? What's the tech stack? And to answer all of these questions, I would like to now invite Terri and Olatunde on stage to take you through CBA's remarkable data transformation journey that involved migrating multi-petabyte of on-premise data lake to AWS and setting up a cloud-native data marketplace with federated ownership model and self-service analytics. With that, I'd like to hand over to Terri to take you through the next section.
Thank you. Thank you, Praveen. Hello, everyone. I'm super excited to be talking to you today about CBA's ambitious data strategy and cloud transformation roadmap. I truly believe that data is one of the bank's most valuable assets. We use it to fight fraud and scams. We use it to create great customer experiences. We use it to drive all of the processes and services that the bank offers to its customers, from accessing your cash at an ATM, paying for your groceries, or that all-important decision of getting a loan to buy your own home. Each one of those processes is driven by data. So it's important to recognize that data is not just about numbers and characters, and neither is CBA's data strategy just about data. The strategy has three core pillars. Firstly, and most importantly, the people. Like many companies across the globe, we have come to recognize that a central engineering and data AI team just doesn't scale and can lose sight of the customer value that they are there to drive out. That is why the first step of our data strategy was to federate the data engineers and data scientists into crews that sit in lines of businesses across the bank. We did this to ensure that those that build the data products and drive the insights from those products through analytics and AI are closer to the customer. This ensures the right customer outcomes are prioritized. This ensures deep ownership of the data and what processes that the data drives. The second pillar of our strategy is governance and standards. We are a bank. We manage sensitive data, important data, about our customers and our people. We need to ensure that in all stages of the data lifecycle, we have the right controls, the right governance in place. It needs to be inherent in the design of how we operate. And thirdly, and the reason we are all here today, we need a state-of-the-art cloud data platform to support our ambitious data strategy. On this, we are partnering with AWS. So, what are the principles of our strategic data platform? Self-service, automation, collaboration. In operating model where crews in every line of business in the bank are producing data products and using those data products for AI, but also then sharing those data products with other lines of businesses. The core principle of self-service, automation, and collaboration are key. That is why the core offer of our AWS platform is a single pane of glass experience, marketplace. This is where we can discover data across the entire AWS ecosystem, require access for that data, and then consume that data from one single point. But it is critical to understand that data has gravity. Data has gravity. What does that mean? It means wherever the data is where the engineers and the data scientists will work. The migration of our data platform, our on-premise data platform, was key. In CBA, we had decades of rich data held in on-premise platforms that did not have the tools to scale. The migration of all that data was key to our cloud transformation roadmap. Move the data, move the people, move the source of analytics and AI. And so in parallel to building our federated AWS platform, we moved 61,000 on-prem pipelines to AWS. This equates to 10 petabytes of data. This took us a record-breaking 9 months, testing 100% of pipelines at least 3 times, a total of 229,000 tests. And in so doing, we moved our entire data engineering and AI workforce to cloud. Now that's the high-level story, but there is so much more under the hood. And to walk us through that detail, I'd like to hand you over to our Chief Engineer, Olatunde Baruwa.
Thank you, Terri. Hi, everyone. It is a privilege for me to share with you today how we have used technology to enable the data strategy and the operating model for the bank. In essence, how the vision has come to life and how we have been able to collaborate with AWS to make it a reality. As you all know, the importance of foundation cannot be overemphasized. Whether it's the foundation of a building or the metaphorical foundation of a work or data strategy. There are 2 key foundations to the transformed strategy. One is a centralized monolithic data, which is our present. The other is a federated agile data, which is our future. We wouldn't have been able to realize a vision of data federation without the most important asset to the bank, which is our monolithic Hadoop-based system that contains over 10 petabytes of data. And migrating it to the cloud was the best decision for us to enable us to create data gravity for data federation. Then comes the next challenge. How do we drive business units with new ways of working to enable them to collaborate in a productive and effective manner with data? This brings me to the concept of topology. For the purpose of this presentation, I'll be delving straight into what we have adopted topology-wise for the bank. And this is a coarse-grained government mesh. Within this topology, we define a node at the line of business level. And each node contains one or more subnodes, which we refer to as service domains. In every service domain, we use a service domain to define ownership and the ground lights of data. And each service domain comprises a platform blueprint of storage, compute, orchestration, data pipelines, and other applications. Now, a node within the mesh can be a producer or one of the subnodes. It can also be a consumer or a combination of producer and consumer. And lastly, there is a central node that brings everything together in a governed manner. This central node comprises of core platform services such as orchestration, data and records management, data discovery, and since data is distributed, the data marketplace is what glues everything together, such that we can have interaction between the producer and the consumer, as well as enable the publisher-subscriber model for data sharing. Now you may wonder, what design principles underpins our topology? Number one, ownership and federation grain. It is highly important that we understand the organization landscape to differentiate between the granularity of data and the tech stack. Secondly, alignment to open standards. We want the platform to be interoperable and portable in terms of data formats and the processing. Data format in open standard formats such as Iceberg, or the use of Spark for processing. Next, we want to minimize data copy. What we want to do is to take compute to the data, rather than bringing data to compute. In so doing, we want our users to be able to access and query data in place. We want to be able to minimize data duplication as well as maintain the integrity of the data. Also, we talk about workload isolation. For us, workload isolation means having the separation of different workloads for storage and compute, such that our service domains are able to operate independently without interference. What this does for us is to enable high performance, scalability, minimize resource contention, as well as reduce the blast radius whenever we have incidents. And finally, built-in governance and controls. While we want a service domain to have local autonomy and to be self-sufficient as much as possible, we enforce structured governance model with central oversight. And the governance model can come in the form of metadata management standards, data quality and controls, operational metadata, orchestration, and so on and so forth. I've been talking about how we have used our centralized monolithic data to create data gravity, and also how the topology is enabling our enterprise transformation. Now, I'm going to delve into the tech services, how we are leveraging AWS services to make it a reality. Within an LOB, or what we call the line of business, there can be multiple service domains. Imagine the line of business as a data platform in its own right. Each service domain includes storage. This is where we store our data in open format, such as an Iceberg. On top of that, we have the glue catalog, which stores the technical metadata. And also we have a policy manager in lake formation that enables us to enforce access control related to humans and machines. And now, how do we enable service domains to build data assets and products? This is where we offer a variety of compute engines to give them the flexibility to pick and choose what is appropriate for their workloads. And this can be in the form of Spark-based EMR serverless, or SQL-based Redshift serverless, or Athena, as well as the use of SageMaker for their ML workloads and the integration with third-party engines. Now, think about how you want to scale it. We can have a similar representation of the node for another line of business that has multiple service domains. And this is enabled with a platform blueprint, with the principle to build once and deploy many times. And imagine that you have 40 different lines of business in the bank. And that is over 40 different data platforms. This represents a shift and a complete transformation in the way data is produced and consumed within the bank. Again, what brings them together is the data marketplace, which is based on Amazon Data Zone, that gives us a unified business data catalog that enables users to be able to discover all the data available in the bank. And also, a very critical component of a landscape is orchestration. We have orchestration at every line of business. So this is where we leverage services such as the managed workflow for Apache Airflow, SQS, and Lambda. And what actually enables the interaction between producer and consumer is our enterprise event bus in EventBridge. This enables us to orchestrate our data products. We have been setting up the foundations of the data platform for the past year. I must say, and I'm proud to say that, it has been wonderful. We have achieved a lot in a short time frame. I'd like to say many thanks to the entire platform crew and the Cloud Foundations team that have actually made this a reality. Now, what we are doing now is continuously engaging with our early adopters and upcoming tenants using the working backwards principle. This is where we want to understand what the top feature ask is, what the requirements are, so that we can focus on building capabilities that would enable us have them interact with the platform with easier interaction. I'll go to the first component we are enabling soon within a bank. It's the Amazon SageMaker Unified Studio. Amazon SageMaker Unified Studio for us is a game changer. It brings an integrated platform experience in one place for us as a platform to manage and for our users as well. What it does, it gives us a singular view that abstracts away all the disparate federated data platforms, such that everything is seen as one. And that in that way, we have an integrated and seamless tenant experience. As you can see on the screen, I've got a screenshot of the Amazon SageMaker Unified Studio that will be rolling out soon. And what is going to happen for us as a bank is our tenants, our users, is able to go into a single front end, consume data for the marketplace, request access to data, get the access approved, and then be able to build data and analytic applications over the data, everything in one place. In addition, what we'll be enabling soon is the data lab. We want our users, our data users, to drive innovation on the data platform. And this is to bring our data analysts and data scientists together to enable them to consume from the marketplace, request access to data, being able to create their own objects and also store it locally, as well as being able for them to share and collaborate with other team members. And the other component we're also enabling is Gen AI on the interface. Examples such as chat with data. This is will enable our users to interact with natural language to process the business catalog. Also, we're going to have text to SQL, as well as having to use low code to build data pipeline workflows. As you can see, we are working backwards. We are working backwards. We have a vision, and it has come to life. We have learned along the way, and we are accelerating the onboarding of more tenant use cases onto the federated data platform. I will now hand over to Terri to take you through what the learnings have been and the roadmap for the data platform.
Thanks, Olatunde. Well, as you can see, an incredible amount has been achieved over the past 12 months. We have built our strategic AWS platform. We've migrated decades of investment to that data platform. And in so doing, onboarded all of our data engineers and data scientists to cloud. But what have we learned along the way? We could not scale on data, AI, and Gen AI to support services of CBA in a centralized operating model and on monolithic on-prem platforms. To accelerate on transformation, we needed to move our workforce to the strategic platform, in our case, AWS Cloud Native. We needed to train our people to understand the new federated operating model and allow time for our engineers and data scientists to become certified in the new tooling. And most importantly, we needed to recognize that any transformation is always a learning curve. When it comes to ambitious transformation, we need to be comfortable with the unknown. MVP and iteration are the path to learning and discovery, and in fact, the fastest way to true value outcomes that serve us all. Thank you for your time today, and with that, I'll hand over back to Praveen to close it out.
Thank you, Terri and Olatunde. What a remarkable journey so far. And we are just getting started. I've been working with the team since the start of the data transformation journey. And I truly believe what the team has built is a future-fit, cutting-edge, world-class data platform that not only enables them to accelerate the pace of innovation within the organization, but also meet all of the security and compliance obligations. From all of AWS, we value your trust and partnership, and we look forward to continuing our journey together. Before we wrap up, I want you to remember 3 key takeaways. Your data is your unique differentiator. And so, in order to get the maximum return on investment from your analytics and AI initiatives, you want to make sure you have a strong data foundation to start with. We also see organizations that struggle with balancing governance and agility or enabling self-service analytics. They benefit from moving towards a federated ownership model. In this model, line of business owns their data sets, lines, and other components of the data platform. And last but not the least, interoperability and flexibility. You want to ensure whether it's adopting open standards or providing your builders, developers, your user personas choice of engines and interfaces. You want to make sure that the platform remains future-proof. You can keep getting the best price performance as you scale, and you can enable data democratization by reducing any adoption friction. With that, I'd like to thank you for joining this session today. Really appreciate your time. If you could fill up the feedback survey, that will help us improve our future sessions. Thank you, and have a great rest of the summit.